Guys, welcome to Planning with Crystal. So I'm here to do an unboxing of the Reading in Heels subscription for February 2019. Before I get into this month's box, I just wanted to do a quick recap of last month's book. So last month we got The Outrun by Amy Liptrot. I just wanted to give you my thoughts on this. If you do want to skip ahead to see what's inside the box, I'll put a timestamp under the video so you can just flash ahead and check that out. But if you want to know what I thought about this book, first of all, I didn't realise when I first picked it up, but it's actually a memoir. It's not a fiction book. It's someone's kind of true life story, and it's based around the author herself, some of the troubles she's gone through with alcoholism and such, and how she kind of got round that. It focuses a lot on the Orkney Islands where she grew up, and her going back there and kind of recovering and getting to know herself, improving herself and things like that. I found it in parts really quite gripping. I really wanted to know what was going to happen next, how she dealt with certain issues. But then in other parts of the book, I found it slightly less interesting because there was a lot of detail around birds on the island, history of the island, things like that, that I just didn't find quite as interesting. Perhaps other people will. If you're really into those kinds of things, you might find it interesting, but there were just times where the kind of pace of the book and the story just fizzled out. She was just kind of talking about birds and the island, and it kind of lost the pace of the kind of story and her experiences, if you know what I mean. But that was just my own personal kind of thoughts. I still enjoyed the book. I'd probably give it out of 3, just for my own personal taste and enjoyment of the book. I do think it's worth a read. It's slightly different to something that I would normally choose, which is a great thing about a subscription. You get to read books you wouldn't otherwise have picked, and I think the cover is pretty gorgeous too, with the birds and things on there. So that was my thoughts on the book. If you read last month's book, please leave me a comment underneath. I want to know what you thought of the book. Did you enjoy it? Do you know what I mean about the kind of slow bits and the less interesting bits? Like I said, that's kind of personal choice, so I understand if other people really enjoyed that. So without further ado, let's get into this month's box. So again, we've got the kind of marble packaging, and if we just rip it open, you've got a leaflet about the box itself and what's inside. You've got the card to fill out about your review of the book itself, and then we've got the tissue paper and all the contents inside. Okay, so I can see this month we've got a beauty item, and it says something to bring a bit of a glow to dull wintry complexions from one of our favourite brands, Phase Zero, which I'm not familiar with. It says, finely milled, highly pigmented, you'll find that you only need the subtlest of hints of these colours for a beautifully natural finish and a radiant glow. So this is called Straight Flush. I'm trying to get in here. Okay, so this is the packaging inside, and this is the shade. It's a kind of pinky colour, so I guess a nice all-rounder for most people. I like the packaging as well. It's got a little mirror in there, and I like the shape and everything of it. I'll have to see how that blusher works out, but that's an interesting addition to a book subscription. Not the sort of item I would have expected, but interesting all the same. Then we have got a bookmark, and it says, the stories we love best live in us forever. And of course, anyone who is reading and of course taking part in a book subscription, you're going to want a bookmark. I go through lots of them, I'd lose them as well. Mark your place in the pages with our bespoke bookmark, with an elegant marble print in deepest indigo. The quote, the stories we love best live in us forever, is one from J.K. Rowling, of course. Something to make you reflect on your own stories and why you love them best, perhaps. So last month we got tea bags as our drink. This month it seems we've got a coffee bag. So I've used a coffee bag before, although not from this brand. The brand is New King's Coffee, and it's this fresh ground coffee bag, and it's a Guatemalan, it's from the Guatemalan region in Central America, and it's a medium roast, rich and full flavoured. And it says, a little pick-me-up to enjoy with your book. These coffee bags are such a brilliantly practical choice. Fresh ground coffee in an instant. So these are in like a bag, you pour your hot water on, you get your fresh ground coffee without the need for a cafetiere or similar. New King's Coffee's medium roast is made with fairly traded beans from Guatemala. Expect a smooth, rich flavour with caramel notes. So of course this is great as well. If you're not into tea, then of course you might prefer coffee, so it's nice to have that instead of tea again. Then we've got chocolate again this month. This is by a brand called Love Cocoa. And it says, well, this is just delicious. We're huge fans of Love Cocoa, the award-winning chocolatier founded by James Cadbury, and no, the name's no coincidence. Creamy milk chocolate is accompanied by the sweetest honeycomb pieces. It's organic and fair trade too, which somehow makes this one even yummier. So yeah, and it's cute little packaging and just like a little kind of bar size. And then of course finally we're on to this month's book, and it's quite a thick one actually. So this is called The Charmed Life of Alex Monroe. She has it all until she loses it, and it's by Molly Flatt. Not a book I'm familiar with, but one I'm about to become familiar with, of course, when I read it. Let's see what it says. We're pretty sure you won't have read anything quite like Molly Flatt's debut novel, The Charmed Life of Alex Moore. It's a real page-turner of a read, taking us from London's tech scene to the wilds of Orkney. Oh, so we're going back to Orkney, which is where last month's book was set. A hint of The Matrix, a little bit Black Mirror, with an original, engaging style reminiscent of J.K. Rowling. Expect twists and turns aplenty. So on the back it says, when life turns extraordinary, can she leave ordinary behind? 6 months ago, Alex Moore was going nowhere in a dead-end job. Then seemingly overnight, she turned her life around and became one of London's hottest entrepreneurs. But now weird things are happening to her memories, not to mention the mugging, the stalker, and the wild claim that she murdered a stranger. Worst of all, her friends and fiancé are less than supportive of her newfound success. So when Alex is invited to the Orkney Islands for a research project, she can't wait to unplug and recharge. But weird turns to WTF as she stumbles upon the world's oldest secret, a secret that her stratospheric ride has catastrophically messed up. A highly original novel with a protagonist you root for. So that sounds interesting. So what do we think of this month's box? I'm quite happy with everything that came inside. So to recap, we've got the blusher, chocolate and the coffee. Love something to eat and drink while I'm reading. A bookmark, always useful for the reader. And the book itself. And of course, the little review card. So that's the end of this month's unboxing. I'd love it if you give me a thumbs up and subscribe to make sure you don't miss any more of my unboxings. I'll link the subscription box underneath if you do want to check it out. Thank you so much for watching. Bye guys!